President of the Republic of Malawi, Her Excellency Rupia Banda, and the Presidents of the National Republican Institute and the International Republic. Some of you here may recall that in my message to Nigerians in October last year, we promised that in the week of the general election, we shall be conducting daily briefings. The idea is to provide stakeholders with up-to-date information about the process and preparedness of the Commission. Unfortunately, due to the last-minute consultations conducted by the Commission in the last 2 days, we were not able to commence the daily briefings on Monday, 20th February 2023, as we intended. The general election commences in the next 40 hours or so, with the national elections, presidential and national assembly this Saturday, and state elections, governorship and state assembly on the 11th of March. The Commission has meticulously prepared and implemented its election project plan, learning from recent elections. It is important to keep the sheer magnitude of Nigeria's elections in mind. The voter population of 93,469,008 voters is more than the total number of registered voters in all the other countries in the West Africa region put together. So each time we go to the polls, it's like conducting elections for the whole of West Africa and a substantial part of Central Africa. In addition, we shall be deploying to 176,606 polling units. The number of polling units is actually 176,846, but that total figure includes the 240 polling units without registered voters, and we shall be deploying to the 176,606 polling units simultaneously. This election requires a huge logistical deployment. We have painstakingly procured, organized, and delivered all the materials to the states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory for deployment. We commenced the delivery of non-sensitive materials over 2 months ago, and they have been batched down to registration area or electoral wards and the polling unit levels. Sensitive materials have been delivered to the states and are presently being delivered to our local government area offices, and we have 774 local government offices nationwide. As such, these materials are only between 1 and 2 levels away from the polling units. We have achieved this by learning from our recent difficult experience with logistics. We have completed arrangements with the transport unions for the final leg of the movement of personnel and materials to the polling units. There, the unions have assured us of their readiness to provide all the vehicular needs of the Commission for the election, and that includes over 40,000 boats to cover riverine locations nationwide. A major part of our preparation for the general election is the establishment of additional 56,872 polling units across the country, the first time that this is done since 1996. With this, we expanded voter access to polling units in Nigeria by over 32%, making it possible for voters to have improved opportunities for casting their votes. we operated on the principle that the right to vote is almost meaningless without a place to vote. Unfortunately, voters have not taken full advantage of this opportunity, resulting, as I said earlier, in 240 polling units without voters, and prompting the Commission to further move some voters out of congested polling units to less populated areas. I implore all voters to cross-check their polling units before the election. However, only 7% of voters are affected by this movement. This means that the vast majority of voters will still vote in their usual polling units. We sent bulk phone text messages, SMS, to the affected voters, tasked our state offices for publicity in local languages, and offered 2 unique ways by which voters can locate and confirm their polling units. We sent bulk phone text messages, SMS, to the affected voters, tasked our state offices for publicity in local languages, and offered 2 unique ways by which voters can locate and confirm their polling units before election day, by sending normal text messages to dedicated telephone numbers or by visiting our website. The detailed procedure has already been uploaded to both our website and social media platforms. Staff to be deployed for the elections have been trained, the last being collation and returning officers who will complete their training shortly. An essential part of this training has been the emphasis on neutrality of staff and the need for them to be committed and dedicated throughout the duration of the assignment. The Commission shall carefully monitor the performance of all staff involved in the election and ensure that both recognition and sanctions are applied where applicable. We have completed all the testing of our technologies to be deployed for the election, particularly the bimodal voter accreditation system and the Inec results viewing portal, the IREV. On 4th February 2023, we tested the beavers in a mock accreditation exercise and uploaded results to the IREV. We are satisfied with the performance of the beavers, which has been confirmed by several groups that observed the exercise. Lessons have been learned from the exercise, which have helped us in training of 10,600 registration area technical support staff for the election. We call them the RATEX. They will provide the necessary support to ensure that the deployment of the beavers is without hitches. Let me reiterate the procedure for voting as provided in the Electoral Act 2022, which clearly makes the use of the beavers mandatory. So also is the use of the permanent voters cards, the PVCs. The Commission operates on the policy or rule that no PVC, no voting. And in the last few months, we made 13.6 million PVCs available for collection for new voters and applicants for transfer and replacement of lost or damaged cards. While we are pleased that the rate of collection is higher than in previous years, there are still, unfortunately, many cards that were not collected. Before the end of this briefing, we shall make public a summary of the number of collected and uncollected PVCs in each state of the Federation. The detailed breakdown by polling units will be uploaded to the Commission's website latest tomorrow, Friday, 24th February. The detailed breakdown on polling unit by polling unit is a huge document, really massive document. But we are committed to uploading this information tomorrow on on our website. To illustrate how big this document is, I am holding here the polling unit by polling unit number of PVCs collected for only 1 out of 36 states of the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory. So this documents in effect terms 36 will be uploaded by tomorrow on the Commission's website, and anybody will have access to the documents. At this juncture, it will not be inappropriate to comment on the National Register of Voters. With 93.4 million records, complete with names, addresses, passport photographs, and biometrics, both fingerprint and facial, the Inec voter register is the largest database of citizens in Africa and one of the largest in the world. However, like all databases, it may not be perfect, but the core of the register is solid. Going forward, the Commission will continue to clean it up using technology and citizens' involvement as provided by law. Through the automated biometric identification system, the ABIS, millions of ineligible registrants have actually been removed from the register. In addition, citizens, the ultimate owners of the register, have helped to clean up the register further during the display of the hard copies for claims and objections in the 8,809 registration areas or wards and 774 local government areas nationwide for a period of 2 weeks from the 12th to the 25th of November 2022, again as provided by law. Nigerians should therefore continue to have confidence in the register as a national treasure and continue to work with the Commission to improve on it as provided by law. But in addition to the hard copies, the entire National Register of Voters was also uploaded to our website for a period of 2 weeks as required by law, during which citizens had the opportunity to scrutinize the register and to submit claims and objections to the Commission, on the basis of which we took steps to further clean up the register. Vote buying remains a major threat to our democracy. We have worked closely with the enforcement agencies to ensure that this is eliminated from our electoral process. We are convinced that our joint operations before and on election day will vastly reduce the prospect of voter inducement, which is not only illegal, but actually immoral. The ban on the use of mobile phones and photographic devices at the voting cubicles is still in force. Some voters have used these devices in previous elections to snap their marked ballot papers for vote transaction. However, citizens are permitted to come to the polling units with these devices as long as they do not take them to the voting cubicles. Our arrangement of placing the ballot boxes near the voting cubicles and away from the party agents remains. Our staff have been trained in the administration of the polling units, and their attention should be drawn to any deviation from that training and the procedure that I described. In the last few weeks, we have been in consultation with other critical agencies and institutions in the administration of the general election. We met with the judiciary about arrangements for post-election adjudication. Last year, we worked with the development partners and the Court of Appeal to conduct workshops for prospective election petition tribunal justices and judges. We have been assured of arrangements for the timely post-election adjudication. We have also met severally with the security agencies, mainly under the auspices of our Interagency Consultative Committee on Election Security, ICSES. They have assured us of their preparedness to adequately secure the election. This is very important as it will assure voters of their safety during the elections, which is cardinal to voter turnout. In the build-up to the general election, several of our facilities were attacked by unknown assailants in various parts of the country. I am pleased that we have fully recovered from these attacks, and we have been further assured that our facilities, staff, voters, observers, the media, and citizens will be safe during the election. As a result of recent developments in the economy, we have also had to consult with the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited on the fuel situation. As you all know, we require premium motor spirit, the PMS, or petrol, and automotive gas oil, the AGO, or simply gas, to power vehicles and boats for land and maritime transportation, as well as our generators during the election. We are pleased that the National Oil Company assured us that it will ensure availability of products for the polls. Likewise, the Central Bank of Nigeria has assured us that it will provide us with the necessary small amount of cash that we require from our budget to make payment for some critical service providers for the election. I must reiterate that the bulk of payment for works, goods, and services are still paid for by the Commission by electronic transfer. And I'm also happy to say that the bulk of the small amount of cash that we have requested from the Central Bank of Nigeria is right now being released to the Commission's offices nationwide. In fact, a substantial part of it has already been received by our office nationwide, and this has greatly facilitated the movement of sensitive materials yesterday from the branches of the central bank to our local government areas, and by tomorrow we'll batch them and then move them on Friday to the registration area centers, and then on Saturday early morning they will be moved to the polling units for voting. On election observation, the Commission has accredited 229 groups, deploying 149,913 observers. As I said at the briefing for election observers on Tuesday this week, this is the largest deployment of observers in the history of elections in Nigeria. Similarly, the Commission has so far accredited 457 national and international media organizations, and together they are deploying 8,882 journalists. We encourage them to freely observe and report the election within the remits of our laws and international good practice. There are 18 political parties fielding candidates for 1,491 constituencies in this election. As provided by law, parties are required to submit the list of their agents for polling units and collation centers nationwide who are individually accredited by the Commission. To make the process easier, we created a dedicated portal for parties to upload the lists of their agents along with names and passport-size photographs. In all, the Commission has printed and delivered 1,642,385 identification cards to our state offices for collection by state chairmen of political parties for their polling units and collation agents. The soft copy of the summary of the list has already been uploaded to our website and social media platforms, and I'm glad to say that we have shared the hard copies of the summary at this meeting. Finally, I want to assure Nigerians that we are adequately prepared for this election. We remain fully committed to a free, fair, and credible process. I want to once again declare that our allegiance is only to Nigerians. Our commitment is to ensure that in this election, we put everything in place for free, fair, credible contest and outcome. I understand that the Inspector General of Police sent a representative. Am I right? Is there anybody representing the IG? Okay, so the Inspector General of Police will join us tomorrow so that together we'll further brief the nation and take questions. I will respond to issues relating to elections, and the Inspector General of Police will respond to issues relating to election security. So on this note, it's my pleasure to welcome all our invited guests, and I am prepared, supported by the national commissioners, to respond to questions, issues, comments you may wish to make, and to take note of suggestions and advice that you may wish to offer. I thank you very much, and I apologize for speaking for too long. Thank you. Units, and what they have in them is simply the number of registered voters for that polling unit. And if there is anything called preloaded outside what I've just described, is unknown to the Commission. And I wouldn't hazard a guess over what is unknown to the Commission. But let me seize this opportunity to assure you and reassure others who may think that Beaver's machines are preloaded, that there is nothing like that. In fact, the machines are configured to start working only at 8:30 a.m. on election day. They can't be operated before the election day. And there is a time frame within which they operate, even on election day. So in other words, I'm unsure what that means. I'm not in a position to answer you, but I hope I've sufficiently responded to your question. Then, Omeza, you talked about the acoustic system here, the sound system. Actually, I'm partially responsible for this in a way, because they are trying to set up this place for collation after what happened yesterday. But I insisted that we must use the Africa Hall for this media briefing. They actually wanted us to use the ASO Hall behind, where we briefed election observers just for today. But I said, no, we must use this facility. So it's good, at least we have tested the public address system, so they will take steps to ensure that this is fixed. But they are actually setting this place up for the commencement of collation, which will be later on Saturday and Sunday. Actually, we are going to commence essentially either late on Saturday or early on Sunday morning. You talked about media accreditation and the absence of car stickers, what assurances. You talked about tax for journalists in Lagos, Oshun, Gombe, and other states of the Federation. And you asked what the Commission is going to do. And this question is related to what Joseph from ITV asked about the media accreditation for collation centers. I've taken note of all these observations, whether they are for tags or car stickers for movement on election day or access to the collation centers. And we'll come back to this immediately. At our briefing tomorrow, we'll be in a position to fully brief you. And I want to assure you that by tomorrow, you will see some considerable progress in dealing with the issues that we have raised. Then there was a question on PVCs collected. list. When are we going to make the list available? I actually referred to it in my opening statement. And before the end of this press briefing, we shall circulate the hard copies of the number of PVCs, number of registered voters and PVCs collected on state-by-state basis. And as I said, by tomorrow, we shall upload the number of PVCs collected nationwide on polling unit by polling unit basis. Then finally, Obiora Champion, he said the senatorial candidate of one of the political parties has passed on, and the party is asking for postponement of the election. What is the commission going to do? The law is very clear what shall be done. The law provides for countermanding the election by 2 weeks in that constituency where a political party has lost a candidate but wishes to continue to participate in the election. But as we speak, the commission has not received any official communication from that political party. As soon as we receive official communication and the fact of death is verified, we'll apply the provisions of the law. Now, something similar happened to one of the political parties, I think in Kano, where a candidate died last week. But he has since been buried, and the party has submitted the name of a fresh candidate to participate in the election. So the election in that constituency will continue with the name of the new candidate. There is no need to countermand the election. But the straight answer to your question is that the provision of the law is very clear. Once we're informed and the commission is satisfied by the fact of death, then we'll apply the provisions of the law. There is no confusion in that respect whatsoever. But before then, my attention has been drawn, and I must apologize that I introduced the former president of Malawi as Her Excellency Rupia Banda. I'm so sorry, it's Joyce Banda. I recall that in 2019, the former president of Zambia, His Excellency Rupia Banda, was here as head of one of the election observation missions. He has since passed on. May God bless his soul. So forgive me, Your Excellency. Her Excellency, Mr. Joyce Banda, not His Excellency Rupia Banda. Her Excellency Joyce is the former president of the Republic of Malawi. And then sitting next to